it feels like in so many ways the stars are aligned for Saturday. And again, I know I said it, but it's just if not now, when are you ever going to get over the Buckeye Mountain? Because it feels like it
Yeah.
is there for the taking.
Yeah. Yep. Um, Either of you have any final thoughts on this matchup? Anthony, any final words?
I guess my final words are like just
Any
what
any
Marty
s-
said.
any stat matchup? Anything you want to touch on at the here? Anything?
No,
Time's
just
yours.
this is your best shot.
Yep.
I mean, not just like to beat them in Columbus, to beat them, period. I mean, this is the first time in 6 years that you come into this game and equal to Ohio State. I think this is the best team that Penn State has had under James Franklin. And I think that this is the most, I don't want to say the worst Ohio State team because that's not the proper wordage, just the most susceptible to loss Ohio State team that you've had in the last 10 to 15 years. If you're going to do it, especially in Columbus, the time is now. I think they just have to put on their big boy pants, go into Columbus, and find a way to get it done. There's no more talk about when you can do it or building up to closing the talent gap. This is your shot. Take your best shot, throw your best punch, and find a way to walk out of there with a win. And if you do, you can begin to climb the mountain if you're Penn State. And if you're James Franklin, you can finally shake that um, opinion that people have of you that you
Sure.
can't win big football games. I think there is, like we talked about in the beginning, there's so much on the line in this game. They have to find a way to get it done, period.
And before I hand it to Marty for his final thoughts, what I would add to that is this has a chance to be for Penn State a quote unquote moment in time. You know, they had that win in 2016, and I think for the most part they did a good job of building off that win, and because of that win they are where they are today. But at the same time, they missed an opportunity off that win to take the program to heights it hadn't seen in a long time. I think this game this weekend, a win for Penn State, has a chance to give the Nittany Lions a second chance at taking the program to that next level. A win on Saturday, one win doesn't single handedly, I think, widely change recruiting, but a win over Ohio State on Saturday would open a lot of eyes across the country from fans, from media, and from recruits. And if they can build on that, and I mean, even if they win Saturday and then even lose close to Michigan, I mean, if they can go 11-1 this year with a win over Ohio State, it has a chance to be a monumental win for this program and really put this program on track to be really good for the foreseeable future in an expanded college football playoff and give themselves a chance to win national championships in the near future. A win can help recruit and become more consistent. It can get you deeper into some of these recruitments they haven't been able to get deeper into that could make the world of a difference down the road. So I think this is a moment in time for the Penn State football program. I don't want to say now or never, but if it doesn't happen this weekend, I think it's a big question mark of if it's not going to happen with the best team James Franklin's had, arguably one of the top five Penn State teams of the last 30 years, Marty. When's it going to happen? What are your final thoughts, Marty?
Yeah, it's
I know that it makes this game quite heavy when you put it that way, but
it really does.
I think it's fair.
Yeah, I've said it for months. This is the best team since at least 17. This is Franklin's best team. This is probably the best team since '94.
It has the chance to be absolutely.
Yeah, and that's hollowed ground. That's hollowed ground at Penn State to be compared to that '94 team. I it's it, it's hard for me to believe I'm going to sit here and say this, but I think they're going to go into Columbus.
And
It's
we'll
going
segue this into our predictions. So go ahead.
Yeah, It's going to be nerve wracking. It's not going to be easy, but I think they do it. I think somehow, some way, they find a way on Saturday to finally get over that mountain, to finally take that step as a program. This is truly, if this goes the way I'm going to predict it to go, this is truly a program altering kind of win.
Yep.
This is the kind of win that, maybe you don't move out of that cul-de-sac we were talking about earlier, but you start to put a down payment. You start to sign the papers.
You start drawing up a blueprint of the new
Yeah,
house.
you do. You start to put that down payment, drop the blueprints on that house in the penthouse region of college football. I They find a way. I think this defense makes a big play late. Rather it's a strip sack, rather it's an interception, a turnover and down, something. I think the defense comes through for them. I'm going to say Penn State 24, Ohio State 21. They find a way to get it done. They get the biggest regular season win of the James Franklin era. And, to James's credit, I think this silences a lot of his doubters, a lot of his haters. Because people can say what they want about James Franklin as a football coach, but if you go back to the start of time, throw 14 and 15 out the window when his roster was a complete freaking disaster. Since the start of the 2016 season, James Franklin is 3-4 against Michigan, which is very respectable.
Yeah.
And other than being 1-6 against Ohio State, has mostly cleaned house against everybody else. And if you can get yourself to where you're beating everybody, we're going 500 against Michigan, and then up that also going 500 against Ohio State, you're a damn good football program. They get there. I don't know how it's going to happen Saturday. It's going to be stressful. It's going to be painful. It's going to be anxiety ridden. But in the end, when we were sitting there at about 4 o'clock or so on Saturday afternoon, and that 3:30 window games are starting to kick off, Penn State rises above. They find a way to get this done. I'm going to say Penn State wins at 24-21 in what would be the biggest regular season win, if not the biggest single win James Franklin has had as head coach at Penn State. And quite honestly, one of the biggest regular season wins Penn State would have had in probably – hell, you might be able to go back to that 2005 game against Ohio State.
Yeah.
Last time they had a truly program altering kind of victory.
Yeah, this has an opportunity to be that type of game, that's for sure. Anthony, well, good luck following that up. What's your prediction?
Yeah, no, I'm not even gonna try. I mean, I've never been the type to just sit here and predict that Penn State could get an upset win against Ohio State because most years from 2018 to 2022, I didn't think that they really could do it.
Yeah.
Last year at home, you thought, maybe if the stars align and everything falls into place. But it would have taken the stars aligning and everything falling into place. This team, just top to bottom, feels different than other Penn State teams that we've seen, even other good Penn State teams that we've seen. This team defensively feels like they have an edge to it. Personally, as a Penn State fan, I've never seen before. We've talked about that edge multiple times, but that edge is what can win you big games like this.
Yeah.
Offensively, this team has the capabilities. They haven't shown it consistently throughout the year, but they have the capability to make big plays. They have the capability to score in key moments. And they have the talent and the explosiveness, to make it happen. I tend to agree. I'm in a shitty situation. I have to work on Saturday because of a scheduling conflict that I have. I won't be able to watch the game at all, but I will be on my phone.
That may be better for your health.
It might be better for my health. For your physical, mental health.
The good news is Anthony works in a hospital, so he will be well taken care of if
when
anything.
He strokes over, they'll be ready to pounce.
Yeah, exactly. So, but I'll be checking my phone as much as I possibly can throughout that game because God, I'm not gonna be able to focus on work at all. But regardless, I think that Penn State can win this game. I said from the beginning of the year, I think that Penn State could win this game. I'm going to stick by it. I'm going to say that Penn State goes into Columbus and wins a thriller. I'm going to say 30-24 Penn State. And Penn State gets the program-altering win. James Franklin gets a legacy-defining win, and Penn State, like you said, starts to lay down that blueprint for their new penthouse suite. I want it so bad. I know you guys want it so bad. This fan base needs it. We've been crying out for it, and it's time. And I think everybody in that program knows that it's time to go do it. So I'm going to predict that they freaking go in and do it.
One thing real quick, Dylan, before you go, I'm sorry, I just want to go off something Anthony said real quick. You mentioned how in the last 4 or 5 years, maybe if the stars align. And what's crazy to me is obviously it's not that way this year, right? Like, I was texting my buddy Adam today, and he and I were like, you know what, Penn State could probably come out and play at like 80% and probably still win this game. Like, not saying they'll do that win for sure, but like they have wiggle room this year. They have some gray area where they can come out and make a stupid play or two, and they don't have to play. You've always felt they had to play perfect football to beat Ohio State and get some lucky bounces. That's what we saw in 2016, right? They played almost a perfect game defensively, got some lucky bounces on special teams, kind of got lucky a few times on offense, and got a victory. It doesn't feel like that has to be the way. That doesn't feel like the blueprint this time around, where they can just come out and just play their brand of football and be better, which that alone should inspire confidence, and just it kind of reflects on the growth of this program as a whole.
Yeah, well said. All right, so you both were picking Penn State. Sorry, I, as you can tell, am wearing red. Now, that was not on purpose, but I am wearing red today. I do apologize for those Penn State fans who are probably been cursing me out, watching us on YouTube for the last hour and a half, wondering why the hell am I wearing red when Penn State's playing Ohio State this week. The good news is I'm not picking Ohio State. Good news for them is I'm not picking Ohio State to win this game. I'm picking Penn State to win this game. I think Penn State is the legitimately better team coming into this week, and I've thought they've been the better team for most of the season. I think this defense is not just one of the best in the Big Ten. I think this is one of the best in the country. I think this is the best defense in the country. I don't think there's a defense that has more athleticism than, and it's saying something, but I don't think there's a defense that has more athleticism, size, speed than Penn State does this year. I don't think Georgia has a better defense. I don't think Alabama has better defense. I don't think Michigan has better defense. I think the best defense resides in Happy Valley, and I think they have one of the best defensive coordinators in the country in Manny Diaz. Offensively, Penn State, we did the matchup position by position. Ohio State probably still has a little bit of a matchup offensively, and it's a bigger matchup and a bigger advantage than that, just because the wide receivers are so damn good and Cade Stover is so damn good. That being said, I think Penn State's defense can cancel that out. What I think is ultimately the difference maker here is that I think this Penn State team overall has an attitude and a moxie that past teams haven't. And to use kind of a similarity that I'm seeing is, obviously I'm a Phillies fan, but this Phillies team this year in the playoffs, it feels much different than last year's Phillies team in the playoffs. Last year's Phillies team just felt they were happy to be there. They were just going to see how long they could go. This year's Phillies team feels like a team on a mission, a team that knows that they are arguably, the best team left in all of baseball in the playoffs and have a legitimate chance to win the World Series. Obviously, they're one of the 4 teams left. But they've seemed like a team on a mission all postseason. I think that's why they have a great chance of winning the World Series. And that's why I think Penn State has a great chance of winning on Saturday in Columbus, is that this team feels like it's a team on a mission. Everybody knows their role. Everybody sticks to their role very well, defensively and offensively. Penn State hasn't been explosive offensively. They haven't had to. We talked about it just a few minutes ago. They've converted on 3rd downs and 4th downs at an extremely high rate. They're staying on schedule with their offense. It's not sexy, but guess what? Sexy does need to win college football. You don't need to be sexy to win in college football. I mean, look at Georgia. That Georgia offense last year wasn't special. They had Stetson Bennett as their quarterback. And I know he played against SEC defense, but guess what? Stetson Bennett cannot hold a candle to Drew Aller's talent level. He can't hold a candle to Kyle McCord's talent level. Uh, I mean, you can win playing non-sexy football in college football. I know that kind of went out the window with spread offenses taking over for a long time, but I think Georgia kind of has shown that you can still do that. And I think Michigan has shown you can still do that. And I think that's how Penn State's going to win on Saturday. I think Penn State has the advantage on both lines of scrimmage. I think Penn State's going to be able to a degree, dominate the time possession of this game. I think the offense is going to move the ball just well enough, and I think the defense is going to get just enough stops. I also think Penn State probably gets a big defensive or special teams play in this game that flips momentum they take advantage of, and I ultimately think they win because of it. With that, let me pull up my score because I do forget the score. Give me Penn State to win this game 27-24. I think they finally get it done. And like I said, if it's not this year, I don't know when. But as Anthony said, he said you guys want it. Obviously, by you guys, I mean, obviously Anthony wants it. Marty, I mean, we know, I will say as journalists, we're supposed to be objective people. And I think I do a very good job being objective. And I grew up in a Penn State family. My one cousin played for Penn State. But I mean, as a journalist, I think I'm very much objective. I really have no care anymore about which way these games go. Marty, you came from Black Shoe Dyers like me, but you still kind of have a little bit of that fandom in you, and I know you want it. I know Anthony wants it, but I know our readers want it. I know all of Nittany Nation wants this win. James Franklin wants this win. The coach, everybody wants this win around this program, and I think this is a program. This is a game that, like Marty and Anthony said, can change the fortunes of this program going forward if they do what we think they can do on Saturday. And I think they get it done. And if they beat Ohio State on Saturday. I still think Michigan is a team that matches up well against Penn State, and I think I'd pick Michigan right now. But if you win this game, all you need to do is beat Michigan at home, which sounds easier said than done. But a win on Saturday puts Penn State on a path of doing something they have never done, which is make a college football playoff. But it puts them on a path to potentially go 11-1 and 12-0, which is heights we have not seen this program hit in quite a long time. And I do think they get that win on Saturday that puts them on that path. All right. Any final thoughts?
The one thing I will say is you mentioned about a win on Saturday puts the program on a path to get to heights we have not seen in a very long time. I think we all agree. They win on Saturday. They're at worst going to finish 11-1, right? Yeah. They have not won 11 regular season games since 2008.
Yeah.
Like that right there, I think speaks volumes. You go back further than that. They have not won. If you go back further than that 2008 season, the last time they won 11 regular season games before that was that just renowned, whatever term you want to put on it, 94 season.
Sure.
So, 11 win regular seasons don't happen a lot around here. And you win Saturday, you're going to win at least 11 games in the regular season. And again, that's part of taking that step. That's part of going from the gated cul-de-sac to the penthouse. And that's part of, to use James's own terminology, that's part of where you go from great to elite, right? That's great to elite. You win Saturday. It's been 5 freaking years in the making, but you win Saturday and you can finally say, or be in a position to say, you know what, we've done it. We've gone from great to elite.
Great callback there, and I 100% agree. And Sixers fans aren't going to like this comparison because there's a chance it goes this way. But obviously, as a Sixers fan, the process that the Sixers have gone through, The last few years has felt like that chance for the process to show its fruits and win an NBA title. For Penn State, this is the opportunity to put not to put to bed, because the job, if they win Saturday, isn't done. But if Penn State wins Saturday, like Marty said, it's that moment in time Penn State goes from a great program to an elite program. And that was a great comparison, a great callback, and I 100% agree with you, Marty. But it's that opportunity that, in a way, the Sixers have had the last few years. But I think Penn State, unlike the Sixers, kind of completes that story on Saturday. Anthony, any final thoughts? Our listeners have been gracious enough to listen to us for an hour and 45 minutes. Any final thoughts?
It's boldy to assume they're still listening. But
our listeners are passionate about Penn State football.
My final thoughts is that it is currently 12:05 a.m. on a Thursday night / Friday morning, and I'm ready to go to bed. So let's
36 hours to kick off. 36 hours to kick off. That's your final thought? All right.
That's my final thought. Sure. Yep. Sounds good.
All right. Well, with that, everybody, thank you for listening to another episode of the Penn State 365 podcast. Thank you for listening to us for almost 2 hours talking about this game. But I think it was well worth your 2 hours. We went through this game deeper than we've gone through any other game in the history of this podcast. There's no bigger game that we've covered in the history of this podcast than this week's game. I hope you enjoyed listening. Thank you for listening. Be sure to go subscribe to us on Apple, Spotify, wherever you listen to us. Go on Twitter, follow us at PSU365. Follow Penn State Rivals on Twitter. You can find us on Facebook and Instagram as well. Go to HappyValleyInsider.com. Sign up for at least a free account. Join our amazing board. You can sign up for a free trial, get access to our premium board, where you'll have access to everything under the sun that we report, recruiting news on the field, off the field, everything in between. And until then, everybody, until we talk after Saturday afternoon, after Saturday afternoon's matchup, have a good one. Enjoy the game on Saturday. Enjoy your weekend. And we'll see what happens on Saturday. It will be interesting to see where Penn State's football program is when the dust settles in Columbus on Saturday afternoon. Have a great one, everybody. Thanks for listening, and we'll talk to everybody real soon.